So on July 19th, Nebraska's legislature, they had a bill that would take effect that would restore voting rights for about 7,000 people. Well, the Nebraska Attorney General and Secretary of State, they were like, yeah, those laws don't mean anything. And it really declared them unconstitutional. But I'm sorry. So how does the Attorney General, Secretary of State tell the legislature that what they have done is unconstitutional? I want to talk about this right now with State Senator Terrell McKinney of Nebraska. He joins us. I'm confused here. So walk us through here. Last I checked, when the legislature passes a law, unless the Supreme Court of Nebraska says it's unconstitutional, how the hell does the Attorney General and the Secretary of State decide on their own?
That's exactly what they're doing. Attorneys General's opinions are just opinions, and the Secretary of State is just going along with that opinion. But that opinion isn't legally binding. The legislature passed LB 20 during our last regular session to make it a law to restore voting rights for returning citizens in our state. And once it was about to come into effect, the Attorney General filed an opinion stating that it was unconstitutional, and also stating that a law that was passed in 2005 was unconstitutional as well.
Right. That's where I'm really confused. How can the Attorney General just on his own say 19 years later, oh yeah, that law is unconstitutional? If somebody wanted to challenge it, you would think they would have filed a lawsuit and gone to the courts, but he just decides on his own what's unconstitutional and what isn't?
Exactly. A lot of these things didn't come up during the session. None of these claims, and especially none of the claims that the law in 2005 was unconstitutional, I had never heard it before until that opinion came out, and a lot of us were surprised of it.
Are Republicans in Nebraska saying what the hell is going on?
Yeah, so even some of my colleagues, because Nebraska is unique. We have a unicameral. We don't have a two-body system. And the bill had passed with bipartisan support. So even when my colleagues...
Looks like your signal froze.
Like what is going on?
Actually, hold on one second. Your signal froze. You said my colleagues, and you froze. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my colleagues, once we had got called back for a special session a few weeks ago, and talking to some of my colleagues, they were having the same concerns we were having, like, what is going on here? We passed this law, and then the Attorney General and the Secretary of State just comes in and tries to tell us what to do. What happened to the separation of powers?
So what's next?
What's next? It's in the courts right now. There's legal challenges happening. It's up in our Supreme Court. We're hoping that the Supreme Court rules in the favor of the voters, rules in favor of the people, and rules that the law is constitutional and that those individuals can have their rights restored and they can vote in the November election.
Okay, now I'm confused because normally when the legislature files a suit, the Attorney General's office defends the legislature. So who's suing who?
So there was the ACLU in our state filed the suit against them. So it's not the legislature filing the suit. It's the ACLU and some other legal attorneys filed the suit against the Attorney General's office.
This is absolutely crazy. I want to bring in my panel, Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA out of D.C., Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, also out of D.C., Dr. Larry J. Walker, assistant professor, University of Central Florida out of Orlando. First up, Larry, you get to ask the first question of State Senator Terrell McKinney.
Yeah, so this is just obviously another example of Republicans not being inconsistent about what they say they actually believe. I guess my question is, when you look at the individuals who were this bill passed and, sort of restore, for returning citizens, restore their voting rights, do we have a breakdown in terms of the racial demographics of those individuals? I think it was 7,000 individuals or so. Do we have a racial breakdown of those individuals who maybe have the opportunity to have their voting rights restored and be able to vote?
It would more than likely be disproportionately Black people. Our state's prison population is currently disproportionately. It encompasses Black individuals, mainly people from my district and the district of the only other Black senator. There's also Native Americans and Latinos as well, but disproportionately speaking, based on our prison population, I would say Black people.
Nola.
Thank you so much for talking about this evening. I'm really bothered by this. So my question is the ACLU filing their lawsuit? Is it a voting rights lawsuit? What type of lawsuit is it civil rights? Like, what type of lawsuit is it?
It's a class action suit. It's 3 individuals they're using for the suit that would have been affected by the law or were affected by what the Attorney General did.
Okay, thank you.
Mustafa.
You know, my question is always why. So what do they get out of this? Does it impact local races, county races, races across the state based upon where you sit and your sets of experiences? Why would they do this in this time?
If you're thinking political, so Nebraska is unique. We split our electoral vote. In Omaha, we have what we call the blue dot. We have an individual running for Congress right now who could potentially flip a seat. And if you're thinking political, if we allow for more individuals who have returned home from incarceration to vote, they could potentially help in flipping that seat to a blue seat.
Again, if you Black, you likely gonna live there in Omaha.
More than likely, or Lincoln.
And so to your point, that's exactly what's going on here. This is the. Give me 1 second. I want to show this here. I showed it yesterday. This is the Electoral College map. There are 2 states there because there you base it upon who wins a congressional district, right?
Yes.
So that's why, folks, if y'all look at this map right here, you'll see right there, you'll see why Nebraska right there, you see that blue dot. And if we go over here, Maine is the same way. Maine does the exact same thing where they split up the electoral college votes based upon who wins a congressional district. And so what these Republicans are clearly trying to do, they want to impact that as a way to try to win that one, because that one electoral college vote is critical when you look at the map and how it all plays out for Harris versus Trump.
Yep.
All right. Senator, we appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Keep us abreast what happens with this case.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
When you talk about Blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.